This episode is brought to you by AirBnB. Hi, Baji.
Hey, Sufi.
Awesome start to my morning. Can I tell you the start to my morning?
Yeah, please.
So sometimes I'll hear the kids rattling around, usually Axel. And because Alexi, obviously, very burdensome to be a mom in any era.
Sure.
And she needs her sleep. And sometimes when I hear them rattling around, I try to get out and intercept them before they get to our room.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because there's no option where they come in and you say, go back to bed, and they do. I either go downstairs with them or they crawl into bed and then she's up too. So
it's a classic head them off at the pass situation.
Yeah, classic head them off at the pass. So I did exactly that. And I went out my door and I expected to see Axel in the hallway. But instead I saw that he'd gone out on this little balcony.
Oh, yeah.
And I had his back to me. And he had his hands on the railing. And I took a picture. And I'll send you the picture because he just looked as though he was taking in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
Contemplative.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is the sweetest thing. I'm so glad I saw this moment of my son.
Contemplative is how I would have said it. But
yeah, okay. Well, let us know in the comments. Either way. And you know what I am right now? Contemptative. That means I currently have contempt for you.
Mm-hmm.
So then, though, here's the reveal. He turns a little bit to the side. He's fully whizzing on the roof.
Yeah.
From the balcony. Not even onto the grass. Because that little balcony, it's on the roof.
Yeah, it's going to go into the gutters.
Yeah, it's going to go into the gutters.
Yeah.
But it was, genuinely very funny.
Yeah.
I had a real nice laugh.
Did you share that with Alexi, or is that something that you got to be like, don't do that?
I did. It's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. I did.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was so funny. And what do you think? Alexi, what do you think she said?
He's not allowed to do that?
Well, I knew that. But she said something even better. She said,
did you stop him?
Did you wash it off?
Oh, did you wash it off? Yeah.
And I said,
you wait for the rain.
Exactly. I mean, it's a roof. I go, good news. He did it the one part of the house literally no one can see. No one's walking around town being like, who's got piss all over their roof? We had a moment where I said, what do you think when you ask, did you wash it off? Even because, even if you believe in your heart the right course of action is to wash it off, do you genuinely think I did that before 7 a.m.?
Yeah. Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
But we had a really nice morning, I will say. Because again, it put me in a good mood. I liked seeing my kid taking a big old leak off the balcony. I don't know what to say. It just put me in a good mood.
I had a good morning. This last weekend, I was out on Friday night, which was the opening ceremonies. As we're taping this, it's probably some time's gone by, but I'm a big fan of the opening ceremonies. Was kind of bummed I had something that was great that I got to do on Friday night. But so on Saturday morning, I woke up and threw on those opening ceremonies and just sat on my couch for 3 hours and cried no fewer than 6 times.
Great. What? Give us 2 examples of what got you.
Celine Dion.
Okay.
That's one that I feel like got everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I could keep going. There was a sort of Beyonce teaser for the U.S. national team that really got me. There was a Dick's Sporting Goods commercial that got me.
So you were really in the pocket at this point. If
I was pretty primed up.
Yeah. Okay.
Although, great commercial. At some point, the way the Eiffel Tower was being lit, there was like a laser show that got me crying.
Okay.
The Marseillaise, definitely cried.
Great.
Not even French.
But come on. That's, everybody's second favorite anthem, right?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Your own countries and then that.
Yeah. And there was, there's some weird, goofy stuff in that.
I love the weird and
opening
goofy
ceremonies. Yeah. You got to let the French be French. Like the host nation gets to
you got to let your
show off.
As you always say, you got to let your French flag fly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do. I often say it. And yeah, I was just delighted.
I was a little hopeful the kids would be more excited for it. But again, the problem is, the summer afternoon 1:30, because we didn't record it. But like, the timing's not great for like, hey, everybody, beautiful summer day, come inside and watch a weird opening ceremony. But yeah, hopefully Ash is very excited about track and field. He wants to watch people run fast. Yeah.
And hopefully, I mean, to me, it's just the story. It's the human stories that make it so good. And so, I mean, I also, I cried this morning watching, a swim final. Cried last night watching the men's gymnastics team final. So yeah, a lot of tears being shed over in my house.
But the good kind, the good kind of tears.
The best kind.
It would be a bummer if we found out you were crying because you had wagered heavily on different teams that were underperforming.
Yeah. My big bet on the Brazilian handball team.
Yeah, sorry,
not coming up the way I thought.
It does seem like I know this will sound like I'm plugging the network, but it does seem like Peacock's doing a wonderful job with their Goldcast.
Yeah, perhaps. I went over to a friend's house and I thought it was very confusing.
Okay, well, there you go. Yeah. Now you know they're not a sponsor because
yeah, we wanted to watch the women's qualifying Group 2.
Wet Blanket Jones is here again.
Well,
all right, hold on. I gotta cover up Frisbee with a blanket. We've had a lot of comings and goings today during the pod record. I'll be right back. Actually, you know what? I'm realizing something. She can wait a second.
Yo, there you go.
Because we're basically, this is, you know what? We could just bring a guest on.
Yeah, let's do that. And then you can put your old dog, put a blanket on that old bag of bones.
She is a real bag of bones. She is a sweet bag of bones. All right, this is Eric Dane, who neither of us had ever met before, but he's just a wonderful fella to talk to. Enjoy, everybody.
Family trips with the Myers brothers. Family trips with the Myers brothers. Here we go.
Hello. There we go.
Oh, you sat sideways straight up.
Now we got it horizontal.
I am. How you guys doing?
We're great. How are you?
I mean, I'm especially good seeing this mustache.
Right?
All my questions are going to be about the mustache.
I'm starting a job in September, and I'm fooling around with facial hair because I just don't like working without it.
Yeah.
So we're trying on different looks, and based on your reaction, Seth, I'm thinking to get rid of the mustache, man.
No, I really like it. First of all.
And I'm in Austin, Texas right now, so I am blending in.
Yeah, you're in mustache country.
Yeah.
You are in mustache country. Now, I have a question. Does the director have to sign off on the facial hair look? I know you're trying them out, but ultimately, is this a group decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to what FBI regulations are because I play like this task force commander at the FBI, 22-year FBI task force leader. And, it's going to depend on what the Federal Bureau of Investigations will allow.
Right.
Yeah.
So no Raleigh fingers situation. No, like full curly Q at the ends.
Raleigh fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
nice
that doesn't meet. That probably doesn't meet regulations.
That's a nice pull. If we were playing like the Keystone Cops, I could have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's always like some FBI officer who has a certain level of status, and maybe he can have things that go beyond what's allowed, but his underlings are not allowed to. I don't know. I don't know what you're playing here, but yeah.
It's television, and it's the suspension of disbelief, and, I'm ultimately going to make the decision, but I do want to try to maintain some integrity. We'll see what shakes out.
All right.
I like the mustache.
Yeah. Do you trim the bottoms, or are you like our father and just chew the ends off?
No, I was given a 10-minute break from my little tech tutorial, and I trimmed the bottoms. just
All
for
right,
you
well.
guys.
It
Yeah.
does. It's a straight line. I feel like you could.
It's good.
You
It's symmetrical.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
all just
absolutely.
searching for a little symmetry.
Have you? Is law enforcement? Have you? I feel like you've probably dabbled in playing law enforcement before, Eric. You have that authority, do you?
I've played a naval commander,
Mhm.
which I feel is kind of like a similar vibe to law enforcement
Yeah.
to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But plastic surgeon and misunderstood, confused, and maybe a little bit creepy father.
All right, I want to get to that because I know this is
That's what people say Seth is.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, yeah, when I watch Euphoria and I see you, I'm like, God, I see a lot of myself in Cal Jacobs.
Yeah, bet you do.
I do want to say real quick, and I know we're not going to talk, this is about family trips, but Euphoria is not a family show, but it does have a lot of stuff about family. And I just want to say, and I know hopefully you've received these accolades from people. It is such a fantastic performance. And I want to say that season 2 episode where you had your breakdown is so moving, so dramatic. And also it is in parts, it is so funny. And I heard you once say that playing that breakdown was fun. And I was so happy to hear that because I feel like Euphoria works best when it's all these different genres like squeezed into one television show. And that was just one of my favorite performances of that year.
Oh man, thank you so much. That's so, thank you. Thank you. That's good to hear. And it was fun filming that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the circumstances surrounding that whole scene and the tenor of that piece, it was fun. As heavy as it was received by the audience, the guy acting the role was having a blast.
Yep. I will say I don't actually have anything in common with Cal Jacobs. That was a joke, but there is a moment. Spoiler alert.
I love how you really doubled down and clarified that. We all knew it was a joke.
I know. But Cal, when I will say when you urinate in the middle of your family's home, I have wanted to definitely do that. I have reached a breaking point with my wife and kids where I thought, oh, that would be such a fun thing to do right now.
I'm just gonna pee on the entranceway.
Yeah. But then you're just going to be, someone's going to tell you to go get the little Bissell green
Yeah, that's
machine and
true.
you're going to be cleaning it up.
Yeah,
That's that.
absolutely.
You're gonna be swifting.
Yeah. Every time you snap a laptop in half, 2 hours later, you're at the Mac store buying a new laptop.
Be like, I don't know how this happened.
Yeah.
Where are you guys at? You on the East Coast right now?
Yeah, East Coast. Josh is
I'm
LA.
West Coast.
I'm East Coast.
I'm in LA.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Good.
Yeah.
Great.
And so you have a younger brother?
I have a younger brother named Sean. He's 4 years younger than me. We were just in Tahoe together. Wonderful human being. I
That's
love
good.
him.
Well, that was my next question would be, are you close? But if you're still as adults going on vacation together, that would indicate you are.
Our whole family went, yeah, and we are very close.
So whole family, what does that mean with you and your brother? Who else
There's
are you
like
bringing?
22 of us. So we have
Wow.
aunts and uncles and cousins and grandkids. And my kids weren't there. My kids one is on their way to the Hamptons. The other one is at a ballet camp in Connecticut. So I just went solo. But my, mom and stepfather and brother and his wife and their kids. And I mean, it was dinner for 22 is like a thing.
Yeah. Was this an unusual trip, or do you guys do a semi-annual or annual, or do you guys get together?
Yeah, we go to Tahoe in July every year.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And was this
It's
something
fun.
that started when you were little?
We used to have a place in Lake Tahoe that we'd go to. Since my earliest memories are from this place, winter, summer, and the family got rid of it last year or so. But we still go up to this same location, and everybody spends a good week to 10 days there.
And is this canoe life? Is this cookout life? What are we talking?
No, this is boat, wake surf. This is sit at the end of the pier, jump in the water, do nothing, eat an orange, maybe have a chip, drink some water, and call it a day.
Can you all fit in one place, or do you have to get, are you in houses or a hotel, or?
We get a bunch of different condos.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's super
Your
fun.
kids are probably at the age where they're actually not very burdensome, right? They're old enough that you don't have to worry about them every second if you're on vacation with them.
No, I don't have to worry about them. They're actually, to their mother's credit, they're really great kids. She's done a really great job with them. So I trust them implicitly.
Yeah.
There's obviously certain environments I wouldn't want them to be in, but for the most part, I think they interface with the world pretty healthy about it.
Is there any part of you that when they can't make a trip like this, you're like, oh, I just get to like not have to worry about where they are because I know they're in good places? Or are you bummed that they're not there? I'm sure there's part of you that's bummed, but is there also part of you that's like,
I'm bummed because I spent such a significant part of my childhood and created so many core memories that were amazing core memories in Lake Tahoe. I want them to experience the same thing. Now, that said, one of them's dancing with the Bolshoi in an academy in Connecticut, and the other one is on her way to a fun vacation with her mom. So, like, at the same time, I'm happy that they're probably happy, but selfishly, I'd love to have them with me.
Yeah.
They would have so much fun there.
When you were a kid and you were heading out to a summer vacation at the Lake Tahoe location, what were you most excited about? What was your jam? What was young Eric's jam?
The young Eric loved to get down to the end of the pier and go fishing.
Okay.
And then it became about water sports and tennis.
What were you best at? Was there anything where you rose above the level of the competition of kids your age?
Yeah, I was a very good swimmer. I played water polo in high school. I was a very good water polo player.
Water polo, anytime I watch it, it just seems so exhausting. It seems like
There's also no appeal to it. I mean, like, I would love to be good at a sport. Let me just say, of all the sports, if you had me make a list, I would put that as the one I least want to be good at. It just seems like treading water and being grabbed. Is that accurate?
And taking a ball off the face.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more aggressive than that. I have taken I've taken a few. It's a little bit more aggressive than getting grabbed and treading water, but it is a lot of swimming. It is a lot of treading water. And you'd be surprised how, you can condition your body to do something like that. As a spectator watching it, you're like, God, I could never do that. But, if you put in the time, you'll be able to tread water for 3 hours. You have to wear multiple suits because you don't just get grabbed, you get your suits torn off. That's part of the deal.
You're not selling this. I know the window for me to be good at this is closed, but you're not selling it.
I just feel like you've already made up your mind.
I have. That's very fair. I'm a 50-year-old man. I'm probably not turning my decision around on water polo.
No. When we're done with this, go tread water for 3 hours. And that's a good place to start.
Hey, what about this, though? When do you... I'm also worried about... I've always wondered about this. Like, what gets you into water polo? Is it just that you're at a school that has a water polo team? Because it doesn't seem like... It's not like a thing you sort of pick. It's not like, I played basketball with my friends and then I got better and then I played on a team. Like, how do you start playing water polo?
It's kind of like, I think the progression would be similar to a track star transferring into the football team to be a wide receiver. If you're a really strong swimmer, then you're sort of enrolled in or somebody's trying to get you to recruit you to play water polo.
Yeah. Got it.
I could see that.
Because it's such a big part of it.
Is this a Bay Area? You grew up in the Bay Area, right?
I did, yeah.
Do you feel like there's more water polo in that part of the world?
Not a lot of water polo in Southern California.
Okay.
I can't speak for the East Coast. Lacrosse is becoming such a massive sport. I think it's kind of taking over the mantle of what water polo was.
Right.
But Northern California water polo was pretty big, yeah.
When was your last water polo match? Was it in high school?
It was in high school, yeah.
Do you remember your last water polo match?
I remember my last drive, Seth.
Really?
Was it for something? Was it for some medal?
It was to advance in the CCS Central Coast Section playoffs. And I had single-handedly put the team on my back and gotten to within one goal, cherry-picked, which meant that I stayed off defense and stayed on offense so that if we got a turnover, they could just throw the ball to me and I could score. That didn't happen. And
Yeah.
my season ended. It's been haunting me ever since. God, I wish I
So
could
I'm
go
really
back
sorry.
and take that over.
Really sorry, brought it up. He's done. He's all done.
Do you remember who you guys lost to?
I don't remember who we lost to, but
that's
it's so
good.
weird how you
Yeah.
remember things like that.
Yeah.
And how they stay with you. Like, could I care less? I could care less at this point in my life, but
But still, it is.
I
You realize
remember
it mattered then, and it kind of is like, I'm going to set up shop in the memory bank. You'll get over me, but I'm going to still be here.
correct. I'm not going anywhere.
I got a buddy that plays in a men's basketball league out here, and they were playing in the championship a couple weeks ago, and he had a 3 with 8 seconds left to tie it, and he missed it. And I, saw him, and I was like, "How you doing?" He's like, "I just keep thinking about this shot that I missed." He's like, "That's all
how
I
you
can think
doing?
about."
This guy who's still drinking.
Yeah.
Who's still drinking right now.
Were your girls? Did either of them? Obviously, you got to be physically fit to do ballet and stuff. Did they play sports? Do they still play sports?
Georgia, my 12-year-old, plays volleyball. She's obsessed, and she's great at it. And Billy, my 14-year-old, is obsessed with ballet and dances 6 days a week. Yeah,
I would imagine volleyball is a fun sport as a parent to watch.
it's fun to watch. I think it's fun to watch your kid be good at anything.
Yeah. If pressed, would your mom say she enjoyed watching you play water polo? If you weren't here.
You know what's funny? Yeah, no. If pressed, my mom would say she did enjoy water polo. She wouldn't remember which one of her sons played water polo, but she would have said she had a good time.
If you're watching a game, do you like to chit chat with other parents and people in the stands, or do you sort of get in your own sort of
Laser
section of the
focus.
bleachers? Yeah, locked
No.
in.
Yeah.
I'm locked in.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Volleyball's a pretty fast sport. You know,
Yeah.
the pace of it moves pretty quickly. So there's not a lot of chit chat.
I also think, it might be good for the FBI agent. I also think a sports dad with a mustache is presenting to the other parents, I'm not here to chat. The mustache really says, I'm here for the games, guys.
I'm here for the games, guys.
I'm not looking
That's
to make friends. Did you guys?
That's amazing.
So Tahoe was a big trip when you were little. Were there other places?
You would drive out there? I'm
We
assuming.
would drive. It's like 3 hours from San Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was that drive like? Was it just easy peasy? What were you riding in? Was that a fun sort of road trip aspect of it?
Yeah. When I was younger, it was always a station wagon, and we kind of caravan up with my cousins. And we'd stop at this one sort of like dried fruit produce / we also make cheeseburgers stand called Ikeda's. And that was like the routine. We'd stop at Ikeda's on the way up every year. And that's how we knew we were at the kind of the foothills of the elevation, and we had maybe an hour and a half left.
So that was important. Having kids at the age.
marker.
And kids need a marker. They need a thing. They need
Because otherwise it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet?
I mean, I'm sure you started asking that as soon as you left Ikeda's, but at least you knew you weren't there yet before you got there.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
Family Trips is supported by AirBnB. Hey, Bashi.
Yeah, Sufi.
We have an annual trip.
Yeah, we sure do. We get a couple regular trips, but which trip are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that you and I and 10 of our closest college friends get together every September for our fantasy football draft.
Such a good trip.
Very little of the trip is about a fantasy football draft.
Yeah. I always feel a little nerdy saying that we're going on a fantasy football draft, but we're going to hang out with our buddies.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a fantasy friendship draft. Would that make it less nerdy, or is that maybe worse?
No, I think it's charming. It's sweet.
So this year for our fantasy friendship draft, we have a fantasy location booked. And it's all thanks to Airbnb. We found a place that has enough space for all of us and enough bedrooms for all of us and has a lot of outdoor activities, a fire pit. There's a fire pit, Pashi.
There's a fire pit. I want to say there's a volleyball court.
Yep.
There's a pickleball court. There's a lot.
It's driving distance to a hospital that a bunch of 50-year-old guys are going to have to go to when we blow our ACLs.
Yeah.
But in general, it is so nice that it has all the things that we could not get with our group at a hotel.
Oh, absolutely not. Because what you want is you want to be able to hang out together for as long as you can, and then if it's time to go to bed, you go to bed, but everyone else is sort of in the same place. And one thing that we're sort of focused on trips like this is no new friends.
No new friends. We don't want to meet them. We don't want to make them. We're happy with who we are. And maybe you're someone who's thinking, you know what? My home could be a great get-together for old friends who are not looking to meet new people. You've put a lot of time, effort, and work into your home, and someone out there would probably love to experience it while they're traveling, and then they would rave about how it was the highlight of their trip. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by Nissan.
Hey, Sufi, let's play a quick game. I'm going to say a word, and we both say the first word it makes us think of at the same time. Ready?
I am ready, Pashi.
All right, first word, cereal. Grape
Killers.
nuts. All right.
Oh, okay. We thought of different cereals. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to happen, but maybe let's try to lock in. Let's try to mind meld here.
Okay.
Next word, museum. The Louvre.
Gift shop as one word.
Okay. I said the Louvre. You said gift shop. I know we can be better at this. Let's try one more, all right?
Okay.
All right, last one. Rugged. The Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek, where form meets function with stylish orange contrast stitching and water-repellent seat material.
Whoa.
Wow.
I thought you were going to say me.
For rugged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Posh, with the Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek, you can flex your ruggedness from rocky trails and muddy paths to sandy dunes and snowy roads.
Yeah, flex your ruggedness, Soup.
I will. Stop the laughing. Featuring 18-inch beadlock style wheels and all-terrain tires, plus a tubular roof rack with up to 220 pounds of dynamic capacity for loading up your gear, the Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek is designed to be aggressive all the way up to the front grille.
And all the while, you can stay connected while you drive with wireless Apple CarPlay, allowing you to listen to unbelievable, life-changing, mind-blowing podcasts and also family trips.
Why also never mind. So thanks again to Nissan for sponsoring this episode of Family Trips. Now, go find your path and enjoy the ride along the way. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Can I do the fast part, Posh?
Please.
Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Cargo and load capacity limited by weight and distribution. Always secure cargo. Heavy loading of the vehicle with cargo, especially on the roof, will affect the handling and stability of the vehicle. Compatible device service and consumer activation and Nissan Connect services. Package required. Use only when safe and legal. Subject to third-party service availability. Apple CarPlay is a trademark of Apple Inc.
That's what it sounds like when you read to your kids.
Yeah, I just want to get to bed. Support for Family Trips comes from LinkedIn Marketing Solutions. Hey, Pashi.
Yes, Sufi.
You know, a lot of B2B. Do you know what B2B means, buddy?
Business to business.
Yeah, that's right. I'm talking right now buddy to you, but this is business to business. You know how noisy, if you're in B2B, the ad space can be? If your message isn't targeted to the right audience, it just disappears into the noise. With LinkedIn Ads, you can precisely reach the professionals who are more likely to find your ad relevant.
With LinkedIn's targeting capabilities, you can reach them by job title, industry, company, and more. Stand out with LinkedIn Ads and start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today.
You know, it was thanks to LinkedIn we found our producer, Sam. You know, early on, we were just putting our ads out into the world, and we were getting a lot of, let's be honest, shoddy applicants. A lot of people that had no podcast experience and a rap sheet a mile long.
Also, a lot of our ads, we were using a lot of swear words, and then we needed a producer to say, you can't do that.
LinkedIn Ads allows you to build the right relationships, drive results, and reach your customers in a respectful environment. You'll work with a partner who respects the B2B world you operate in. 79% of B2B content marketers say LinkedIn produces the best results for paid media.
So start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/familytrips to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/familytrips. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Here we go.
Did you, these cousins, are these your mom's side or dad's side? The cousins that were a big part of your growing up?
Mom's side.
Gotcha. And so was she from the Bay Area as well, if she had family out there?
Yeah, born and raised.
And were you close? Were your grandparents a big part of your upbringing?
My grandfather died. I was relatively young. I think I was around 4 years old. My grandmother died when I was relatively young. But yeah, my grandmother she was like the matriarch of the family, and she was a huge part of my upbringing. And that was tough, man. That was tough because that was on the heels of losing my father when I was 7. So that was difficult follow that up with the loss of my grandmother, who really kind of kept everybody together. And now that we're all kind of on our own, and it's incumbent upon us to stay together, we've done a pretty good job doing that. I think that they'd be happy seeing us all in Tahoe together for that week once a year. But they were for the time that they were around, they were pretty strong influences on us.
So you were very young when you lost your dad. Do you have a lot of memories? 7 years old. Do you have a lot of memories of being on trips with him?
I do. His side of the family is from Alaska. They all live in Anchorage, and I remember vividly going up to Anchorage every summer with him, and we did a lot of fishing. My father and I.
Anchorage must be an incredible trip as a kid.
Anchorage is beautiful.
Yeah.
Somebody recently asked me what the most spectacular place on earth I've ever been to, and I would have to say it's Alaska.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning, and it's just a magnificent place. So I have a lot of memories of my father, and a lot of them surround fishing. But also just he was like this prankster. And I remember him, he was always having a good time no matter what he was doing. And so the memories that I have of him, whether they be specific or a little bit hazy, they're all positive.
Your obviously your brother then was really young. Do you think he has memories of your dad as well?
No,
I'm just wondering.
I don't,
Yeah.
He was 2 when my father passed away.
That's young.
I don't think he remembers anything.
I've been to Anchorage one time in my life. And it was like November, which I don't think is maybe the best time to go to Anchorage. No. But I was very taken with it. And my take on my brief 24 hours in Alaska is half of the people you meet look like they're on the lam. Just feels like a lot of, like everybody.
Well, they are, Seth.
Yeah. Everybody looks like they have a brand new haircut. You know what I mean?
Oh man, it's a great city. Anchorage is a great town.
Have you gone back? Is that a place you still made part of your life after you lost your father?
Yeah. Yes. So my grandmother died when she was 92, lived to be 92 years old. And I would go up in the summer and I'd visit her all the time and do the same old routine because, my father has a couple sisters and a couple brothers, and I'm really close with them. And we kind of picked up where he left off. And I caught a 72-pound king salmon on the Kenai River when I was 12 years old. Whoa. That's a spectacular feat.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't have been much more than that weight.
Dude, the fish was bigger than I was.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to, with the process of hooking and then catching a 72-pound salmon?
Like 45 minutes to land that fish.
Really? Wow. And you're on a boat?
In a drift boat, yeah. It pulled us a couple miles downriver.
And who else is on the boat with you? You're 12 years old, so who's the adult?
My little brother, my grandfather.
Okay. All right.
And my grandfather, my father's side, and the drift boat captain.
And is everybody, I'm assuming this, unlike you when you blew it in the semifinals, when you failed to cherry pick, I'm assuming this is one of those memories.
Whoa.
This is one of those positive memories. Was that 45 minutes of enthusiasm? Was everybody so excited for those 45 minutes?
It was enthusiasm, and it was electrifying, and then it was boring as all get out, man. And I kept, it was just like, tiring, and it was just like, it was monotonous, and I kept saying, well, can somebody please just take over? And like, well, if you don't land the fish, it's technically not your fish, so are you sure you want me to take it? Right. So I muscled through and persevered, obviously, but I gotta say, it was fun for about 10 minutes.
The first 5 and the last 5.
I would imagine, though, I'm gonna say the dream, if you're a grandfather on a boat, the dream is a grandson pulling in a 72-pound salmon.
Yeah.
Was it thrill? I mean, when it came out of the water, was everybody just amazed at how big it was?
Amazed. It was the second largest fish caught on the river that day. And my grandfather's never caught a king salmon.
Wow. Do you have a picture of you next to it?
I do have a Polaroid of me next to it.
Yeah.
Great.
And it's interesting because I had to, when you have to pee really badly and you're a kid and you like cross your legs so that you can I had to pee the whole time, and they had to get this picture of me right when I got off the boat with the fish. So I'm sitting there with the fish and my legs are crossed because I literally have to go. I've been waiting like 40 minutes to go to the bathroom on this drift boat.
That's really funny. It's your greatest accomplishment. You look super lame.
I look super lame.
Do your girls enjoy fishing at all?
They haven't done any.
Yeah.
They have not done any fishing.
Seth's son met a stranger who taught him how to fish because Seth doesn't fish. So now there's just some guy.
Some random guy pulling up on Saturday.
It's actually better than that. His name is actually Guy. Tell me if this is good parenting. We had a lemonade stand.
Okay.
Guy comes up. Everything you want a dude to look like at a lemonade stand. Big, bushy, gray mustache, ponytail. It said a great, we built a guest house, basically did this thing. He's like, sorry, the neighbors built that eyesore guest house. I'm like, that's actually ours. He's like, oh man, I do tend to step in it. Like super charming. And then I think maybe he had a fishing pole in his car, and my 5-year-old at the time was like, what's that? He's like, it's a fishing pole. He's like, I want to go fishing. He's like, all right. He goes, I'll come get you tomorrow. And so I brought my son to this dock, and my son very much was like, as soon as you drop me off, you have to go. I don't want you here. And I want you to just leave me with Guy. And I'm like, here's the thing. I'm not sure. Like, you just see the newspaper article where everybody's wondering why. But then we got there, and thankfully my son Axel said, actually, you can just stay at the end of the dock. So I had like one of the greatest 2 hours where I could see my son and this one-time stranger who turned into the most wonderful part of our family life. He's taking the kids fishing again. But just these two dudes, 5-year-old talking to a guy and who was like an aeronautics engineer. And it was just that other thing, when you can see your kid is talking to somebody and you can't hear it, but they just are engaged. It's the best. So, and he then said the sweetest thing where he's like, somebody taught me to fish and I feel like it's my job to pass it on.
I think that's excellent parenting.
Yeah.
I think a mild sort of level of supervision over him getting to individuate and learn how to speak with adults and connect in a meaningful way over something as beautiful as fishing is a wonderful example of some great parenting. So kudos to you, and hopefully more of it.
I will say Guy had that vibe. It's also nice when your kids, their sole purpose of being with a person, and this is, I think, what's true about teachers as well, obviously, it's just to learn about fishing. And so it's almost, because my 5-year-old knew he was the expert in fishing, he was so well behaved. Everything Guy told him about fishing, he was doing, he was putting things away in a way I'd never seen. And it was joyous to watch.
Do you have any desire to go fishing with him in the future?
I would go fishing. I went on a fishing trip like in Florida, where like deep sea, where I got deeply violently ill. And so, but I would fish, I'd fish in a lake or a river if my kids were into it.
Yeah.
I don't want to, because it's not my thing. I don't want to be out there with my kids while they're complaining about it, because all I'd want to say is, I don't want to be here either.
Listen, I've done a lot of fishing. I've never gone deep sea. I've never gone deep sea fishing or trolling or fishing for marlin or whatever you do down in like Cabo. And that doesn't appeal to me. Lakes, rivers, fly fishing,
So you do fly fish. Is that a part of it? If perfect fishing trip for you, where is it and what type of fishing?
So one of my uncles had a float plane in Anchorage, and we would fly into these really remote locations, these lakes that you can only access via plane. And they were infested with black bears, but also the amount of fish in these remote lakes was staggering. Just tons of fish, right? It's almost like the game is like, let's try to not catch a fish, because the second you throw your hook into the water, you got something on the line. And it's just super fun. And it's kind of scary. It's a little bit adventurous. You know, somebody's got a shotgun on their back because you never know what's coming out of the woods. It's absolutely beautiful. And you just, and my memories of that are just like spending time with my grandfather and my brother and my uncle, just kind of sitting on a rock, like, you know, casting a line into the water and pulling out 5 to 10 pound salmon.
So how long a flight in the float plane from Anchorage to where you're landing?
Hour.
Okay, so you're in an hour, then you land on a lake.
Yeah.
And then what, do you have like a canoe on the plane and you paddle out on that, or?
No, so a lot of these lakes you go to have already been set up for float planes. So there is a little dock, and there is typically another plane there. Inevitably, you're going to find another plane there, another 2 planes. There are guys fishing there. They're actual fishing spots, but they are remote. And there are bears, and every time you go out, you see bears. It's not like a Sasquatch sighting, dude. They're out there. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I went to Alaska once, and we stayed at this place that you had to take a float plane to, and there were bears on the property, a couple times in the 4 days I was there. Yeah, it's very cool.
And so then is that a day trip? You don't stay in Bear City, right? You get out of there.
No, you can't camp there. You
can't
gotcha. Camp there.
And were you guys the kind of fishermen who would cook and eat it day of?
We caught so many, a lot of times my grandfather and I would smoke it, which was really fun. Okay. We'd cook and eat it.
Did you have, because of this connection to Alaska, do you feel like you had a more outdoorsy vibe than your San Francisco schoolmates?
Oh, for sure. My San Francisco schoolmates did venture outside of a city.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like so unique that you're going out to airplaning.
I was the only one.
Yeah. Okay.
I was the only one. And it's so many of my memories of Alaska, man. It's one of my favorite places. If I had to choose to live between 2 places, I could live between Alaska and Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
I could. I love LA.
What's the best time of year to go to Alaska?
Well, the solstice is fun because the sun never goes down in the summertime. So if you're there June 21st, longest day of the year, you literally have a full day you just have sunlight. It's pretty spectacular. In the wintertime's nice too. You get to see the northern lights, which they look fake. It looks like a light show that, you see at Disneyland.
Have your girls gone to Alaska? Did they feel a connection to it?
So we took Billy to Alaska when she was really young. I don't think she remembers. She was really young. She wouldn't have remembered anything. But eventually, I mean, look, after my grandmother died, the whole ecosystem of our trip to Alaska was altered, forever. Yeah. And so now it's like a fragmented, like if I went up, like, I don't know who I'd stay with. I don't know, maybe I'd go to a hotel and check in with my aunt but it would be such a fragmented experience. It's different now. When the matriarch of the family goes, it's tough to like hold it together. And we have in San Francisco. It's nice.
That's great. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. Support comes from GameTime. Hi, Pashi.
Hey, Sufi.
You love a concert.
Yeah, I buy a lot of tickets to a lot of shows to a point where sometimes when I tell my fiance Mackenzie we have tickets to a show, she starts crying because she just can't believe that she has to go to work and come home and take a shower and go to another show.
Well, she can't blame you. She's going to take it up with GameTime because it's not your fault that GameTime's offering killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, lowest price guarantee. They take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets, and for a guy like you, that's the part you hate, the guesswork.
Yeah, the nice thing about GameTime is you pull it up and it tells you the all-in price right away. A lot of these other sites, it looks like it's a great deal, and then once you get done with taxes and fees, you're like, well, wait a minute. This isn't what I thought I was going to pay. GameTime shows you everything right up front, lets you choose your seats, lets you see what the view is going to be like from those seats.
And not just a little view. A panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Lowest price guarantee, or GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code TRIPS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code TRIPS for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Support for family trips comes from LMNT. Hey, Pashi.
Yes, Sufi.
A lot of people are talking about my recent 5K.
Oh, yeah. It's all the rage.
And can I tell you who was a really important partner for me in my training?
Who's that?
For my 5K? LMNT. Because LMNT, not just me, it helps anyone stay hydrated without the sugar and other dodgy ingredients found in popular electrolyte and sports drinks. And Pashi, a new box of LMNT just showed up, and I'm very happy because I'm looking, and all of a sudden, I'm running out of LMNT faster than I'm drinking it. And I found out Alexi, my wife, sneaking my LMNT.
Mackenzie as well, grabbing my LMNT. There are so many different flavors, and you think, well, this flavor won't be very good. And like the chocolate, Mackenzie was like, I'm not gonna like this. It's her favorite flavor.
There you go. I'll tell you, the ingredients gotta be good if Alexi will drink it, because you know about her. Body's a temple. You know what? You give her a glass of water, you know what she does? Reads the label.
Yeah.
Moms, exercise enthusiasts, heavy sweaters, sauna sitters, and those who want a dynamite, no sugar margarita or mocktail incorporate LMNT into their daily routine. LMNT's often championed by families' chief health officers, the family member who purchases most of the groceries and therefore most influences a family's nutrition.
Get your free LMNT Sample Pack with any purchase at drinklmnt.com/trips. Also try the new LMNT Sparkling, a bold 16-ounce can of sparkling electrolyte water. Try LMNT totally risk-free. If you don't like it, we'll refund your order, no questions asked.
Again, for your free LMNT Sample Pack, go to drinklmnt.com/trips. That's drinklmnt.com/trips.
Again, for your free LMNT Sample Pack, go to drinklmnt.com/trips. That's drinklmnt.com/trips.
Here we go.
Do you remember going overseas as a kid? Do you remember did you ever take a vacation outside the country?
The first trip I took outside the country, I was 14 years old. I went to Israel.
Was it a birthright trip?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was my confirmation trip.
That's great. So now, how long was that trip? And did you go with a group of kids from like other...
I was there for 6 weeks, and I went with all the kids from my temple.
Wow.
And I've heard from people who've done this, it's like the greatest 6 weeks.
The greatest.
Yeah.
The greatest.
Were you excited about it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, because, you're going on a trip with 30 of your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you knew the group you were going with.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then you meet up with other groups. So you have like 4 buses of teenagers going to all these sites, and and I'm a history freak, so learning about all this stuff in Jerusalem and some of the neighboring towns are just
They got good history over there?
They got some
How's
good
their
history.
How's the history over there?
They got some good history.
That's fantastic. I've heard. I mean, again, yeah. I hope it's something my kids will do one day, and everybody who's ever talked about it says it's a real combination based on how old the kids are of history and horniness. Is that fair to say? the two blend together.
I think I covered both bases when I was in Israel. Yeah, I did it all.
That's great. Have you gone back?
I have not gone back.
Gotcha.
I have not gone back. I'd love to go back. It's a beautiful country.
Yeah, I went. My wife. So we weren't raised Jewish. Our grandfather on our father's side was Jewish though, and then my wife is Jewish, and we went 2011, and it was really something to see. But that's what a cool reason.
Yeah, where'd you go? Which part? Tel Aviv?
We kind of went everywhere as well. We stayed in Tel Aviv,
okay.
but we did. Again, it is as people would be. I don't know, either shocked or expecting not that big. So you kind of get around pretty easy.
Right.
Yeah.
You can cover the whole country in, a couple days.
How are your girls when they were young? Did they vacation well?
They vacation really well. Vacation really well. They always flew really well. They were always And you feel like such a bad parent for doing this, but you throw a device in there and you download some movies and you keep them preoccupied with an iPad on a plane. Yeah, okay. It's questionable parenting, but it beats the alternative, which is a kid you can't sit still.
Right.
So they flew really well. They traveled really well. They're pretty easygoing kids. They've become very self-sufficient. They're good. They're at this point, they're like road dogs.
Yeah. My wife really, I know I've talked about this, but really tries to draw the line on not letting our kids get addicted to screens. So she'll bring like 2 full backpacks of arts and crafts, maze books, word searches, everything on an airplane. They're done with it in 15 minutes. I mean,
No.
they'll take out the clay and they know as soon as they've exhausted it, it's movie time. So they're like, make a clay owl. And they're just going as fast as they can. And then I'm sort of like, I mean, you did better than any parent on this plane. And we all applaud you. Now let's
Give the iPad.
Yeah. Also, you can't, it's not even the iPad. It's like there's screens on the back of the seats. So like you can't tell them. Every other kid on the plane's watching a movie. You can't tell them not to.
I know. But they travel well.
Do you travel? I mean, I would assume a fishing trip is sometimes some solo travel. Do you ever solo travel now? Like outside of work and stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not really, I'll travel, I'll connect travel to work. So like I just did, I worked on a project in Athens, Greece about a month ago. And we traveled around Greece and then I had some friends come out and we went on to London and stayed in London for a few days just to kind of decompress. And, I'll do stuff like that, but I'm not really like hey, let's wake up and go to the Maldives and,
right.
surf for a couple of weeks.
Is it exciting for you when you get a gig that's in a place like Athens?
Yes and no. I really do love working at home, and I've been very fortunate. The shows that I've worked on have all shot in Los Angeles.
That's true. That's amazing.
And I don't mind going out and experiencing a different culture and being a part of the traveling circus as it is. But that wears thin on you when you have a family at home and you're just kind of used to being in one place and you have a routine. I like my routine.
Did you ever take any family trips other than Tahoe or going up to Alaska? Were there any outlier trips where when you were growing up, it's like, let's go to Disney or let's go check out, I don't know, Asheville, North Carolina?
I think every kid has had that one moment. I hope, I don't know about every kid, but where your parents wake you up at like 4 a.m. and they say, get ready. And you're packed and they're like, we're driving Disneyland, or we're going somewhere. Right. Yeah. So I've had that trip, and that's been fun. But to be honest with you, up until I went to Israel at the age of 14, the only traveling I did, and I'm not complaining, was Lake Tahoe. It's such a built-in sort of destination that doesn't require a ton of effort. You don't have to fly there. You don't have to arrange for hotel rooms. It was just kind of like, it was there. We had that. And that was our escape. And it was a really beautiful time when we were kids growing up there. We were very fortunate to have had that experience.
You mentioned winters as well. Were you a skiing family?
Yes, I love skiing. I ski every winter. I've skied everywhere. I love it.
Yeah, same.
Josh is a big skier as well. Do you have a favorite skiing locale in your life?
I think Jackson Hole, Wyoming is probably the best mountain in the country. Josh?
I still haven't been there. I'm in LA. I just get up to Mammoth a bunch of times every year.
Mammoth is good.
Yeah. And for most of the time I'm skiing solo in midweek. And so, yeah, it's harder for me to go anywhere else. Also, just to be able to get in the car at 3:30 in the morning and be on the mountain by 9.
Mammoth is not a quick drive. Mammoth is a 4-hour drive all day long.
Yeah, but I love it. I love doing it, and it's to start in the dark, and then when the sun starts coming up and those Sierras are on your left, it's beautiful.
And then if you guys are ever in Connecticut, me and the kids ski at a place called Mohawk Mountain. And that if Josh got on your shoulders, Eric, it's about that tall.
Right. It's a half a turn. You're down at the bottom of the hill.
Josh, very sweetly, Josh, who is, a real serious skier, has come out with us a couple of times. And I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
It's fun. It's fun.
Good.
I just like skiing.
It's perfect for the kids, yeah.
Do you take the kids skiing? Do you take the kids skiing a lot?
We do, yeah. We take them every Saturday in the winter, and it's great. And, they go to ski school, and it's the same thing. It's a little bit like Guy at the end of the dock. Like, they're huge assholes, and, they're trudging through the parking lot, dragging their poles, just dead-assed all the way. And then they all of a sudden, it's like young kids who are, they're like 22-year-old ski instructors, and they immediately just, their eyes light up. They listen to everything they say, and it's the best.
Yeah.
And it's also, for me, it's like an hour drive for us. And, I love how much of the day it eats up. You just like get them in the car. That's an hour.
It's such a great activity. It's an 8 hour. It's an all day affair.
And then they're so done at the end of the day. Like they have no fight. No fight left in them.
No fight. Right.
They're like, I want to stay up. I'm like, you go for it.
Yeah,
see how long you can stay up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but I love that feeling. I love that.
Do the girls ski?
Billy does. Georgia does not like the cold. Georgia's like her mother. Georgia does not like the cold. Billy loves skiing.
Josh, we split too. I'm like my mom, and Josh is like our dad. They love to ski. And I was happy to call it at lunch.
You can find warmer gear. You can get warmer stuff.
It's certainly, things have changed since, we're all about the same age. Things have changed.
The technology's there.
Yeah, the technology's there.
As the Norwegians say, there's no bad weather, just bad clothes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So back to this surprise trip. Was that Disney that you got woken up for to drive to?
That was Disney, yeah. Back when they had tickets for rides. I don't know if you guys remember that. Disney used to hand out tickets, and you had a finite number of tickets. It wasn't just wait in line. It was like you always had, like, in this booklet of tickets, you had these things called e-tickets, and the e-tickets got you on the really intense rides.
Wow!
But you only had 2 e-tickets, so you had to pick which 2 you were going to ride.
So is that like a Space Mountain is like an e-ticket?
Space Mountain and the Matterhorn was the 1-2 punch for me.
Great. And were you with the 4-year age difference? Do you and your brother sort of roll together at a Disney? Like, or was he like too small for the e rides?
He was too small. And on some of them, like I remember not making the height. But I eventually, I think I covered that entire park. And then obviously revisiting it again when you have your own kids.
Yeah.
And you do the same for them. And they just, I actually loved going to Disneyland with my daughters and seeing them experience it. And my 14-year-old Billy, it was so funny. She was like, she's 5'10". So she has always been tall. So when she was 5, she made the height requirement for the Matterhorn. And she was like, Daddy, I want to go on that. And I was like, are you sure you want to go on that? She's like, I want to go on that. So I've recorded her on this ride, and her head was down the whole time with her hands. But she did it. She did it. She got off the ride. She's like, I'm not doing that again, but I'm glad I experienced it.
We're aiming for April this year to take the kids. Yeah. I'm getting pretty excited. Not excited enough to tell them because I want to give us room to back out. But I think we're circling it on the calendar.
All right.
Oh, that's nice. That'll be fun.
It is. I remember when we went. Do you remember this, Josh? We went to the first time we went to Disney World. Our dad, who's a bit of a ham, Eric. I'll let you know that. There were, those like street performers where there was somebody dressed up like Snow White, like and she was sort of dancing around in the middle of the walkway, and Dad stopped and started dancing with her. And everybody, like all the people were like smiling and laughing. And I was so embarrassed. Like when people say, what's the most harrowing ride at Disney World? I'm like, when your dad dances with Snow White while everyone's watching.
Oh my God. I used to do that. I'd take my girls to school, and they'd play whatever music they wanted to play in the car, and I'd walk them into school, and I would still be singing the song, holding their hand, and they would tug on me and say, "Dad, what are you doing? Stop! You're embarrassing me." And finally, I turned to them. I said, "Honey, I'm like top 3, one of the top 3 coolest parents in this school. I just want you to know that. You're telling me to shut up."
Every kid here would love to walk in holding hands with Eric Dane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's really great. We're going to let you go, but before we do, I should say, Josh is going to ask you the speed round questions we ask all of our guests here on the show.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
Here we go. You can only pick one of these. Is your ideal vacation relaxing, adventurous, or educational?
Relaxing.
What is your favorite means of transportation? Train, plane, automobile, boat,
Train.
bike, train. If you could take a vacation with any family, alive or dead, real or fictional, other than your own family, what family would you like to take a family vacation with?
I think I would like to take this is going to sound morbid, but I would like to take a trip with my family as it would have been had I not lost my father.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, fair enough. If you had to be stranded on a desert island with one member of your family, who would it be?
My little brother.
Great. And you are from...
Wouldn't it
from
be
the
nice to love your little brother that much? Wouldn't it
Well,
be nice?
My little brother's very entertaining.
Oh, well, that sounds great too.
And you're from San Francisco?
I am from San Francisco, California.
Would you recommend San Francisco as a vacation destination?
Not right now.
Yeah.
So we had a recent guest. We just
Yeah,
had Simon
not
Rex
right
on.
now.
Simon Rex
Yeah.
said the same thing. Like, if you know where to
not
go,
right now.
if you could tell people here,
I mean, look.
not here.
San Francisco's it's a beautiful city, but I wouldn't go.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
Yeah.
like that right now. It's a hot time.
I do. I love San Francisco. But yeah, I'm not walking through it every day. Maybe I'd think differently if I was. And then Seth has our final questions.
Eric, have you been to the Grand Canyon?
No,
Do you want to go?
absolutely.
Okay, great. I think you would enjoy it. Based on everything you've said so far, I think you would like the Grand Canyon.
I hear it's spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they tell you, but that's part of the scam.
That's part of this. Right.
Oh, sure, they tell you.
Oh, God. It's majestic. Come out.
It's majestic. There's nothing nearby. Once you get there, it's not like, or we could go to the arcade.
That's it.
You're
Hey, so
stuck.
we saw it. All right, let's go. It's like being on safari in Africa. Like,
Yeah.
all right, I saw the animal. What am I
Have
doing
you done
now?
a safari in Africa?
I have done a safari in Africa.
I've done a safari. It is really funny because
It's pretty cool.
the first giraffe you see is the most amazing thing you've ever seen. And then by the 5th giraffe, you're like, I get it.
I felt that way about the elephants.
Yeah.
By like the first one, I was shocked. And then by the 57th elephant,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, there's another elephant.
You're kind of like, this is a deer now. You now are a deer,
Essentially, yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Tell you this, I get excited every time I see a deer.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You're living a much
That's-
fuller life than I am.
That's an 8-point buck.
What a delight it's been talking to you, Eric. Thank you so much for
Likewise.
joining us.
Yeah,
we do. We're
absolutely.
both of us. Not that we have any pull with the director. We're both obviously Team Mustache, and we hope when we see you as an FBI agent, we're really hoping that we're going to see that too.
If there's any pushback, I'm going to tell them exactly what you just said.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Have him reach out.
Yeah. We could also, our father would be happy to talk to someone too, because he's got the mustache, and
Yeah.
it's done him a lot of favors in his life.
All right, be
You
well.
guys, it's been a pleasure. Be well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Family trips with the Myers brothers. Family trips with the Myers brothers. Here we go.
Thanks again to Nissan for sponsoring this episode. Learn more at nissanusa.com.